Are you now or have you ever been? The politics of Mccarthyism. Introduction. In the Cold War period, many states were afraid of communism. This fear of communism was making necessary to take precautions. However, there was one state that feared communism the most, the US. In this video, we will be talking about how a politician of US created an atmosphere of insecurity and fear in the whole country in the name of security.
Communism in 19th century started in the year 1848 with the Communist Manifesto. This book and the ideology that it explains affected thousands of people across the globe. This ideology supported by many members of the proletariat. These individuals had believed that communism would bring them the things that status quo did not. In 20th century, the communist ideology first started to test after the October Revolution of 1917. Also known as Bolshevik Revolution. After this revolution and the Civil War, USSR, the first communist state of the world, has been found in the 30 December 1922. In the meantime, on the other side of the world, United States of America was having a red scare. The public was fearing that another Bolshevik Revolution was imminent in the US. However, government of US was prepared. They write a couple of new laws that prevent syndicalism and criticize war effort. 10 years later, US stunned with the crisis in the economy. Crisis was a global one and spread to the whole world, and consequently, many people became unemployed for years. This crisis, named as Black Tuesday or Wall Street crash of 1929. As a consequence, support for more leftist ideas such as socialism or communism increased. It's possible to see that the William Z. Foster's and Norman Thomas's votes, who are the leaders of socialist and communist parties and the candidates in the years between 1928 and 1932. This growing support for socialism was causing a threat to US because these workers have ties with the Comintern, so they are suspected that they have connections with the Moscow. However, a new threat was growing in Europe, a threat that brings communists and liberals to same side, fascism. Fascism created radicalization and ideological goals to achieve. These goals of fascists in Germany, also known as Nazis, started a war today known as World War II. World War II was caused death and devastation that humankind has never ever seen. However, US and USSR becomes the winners of the war. After World War II, UK was no longer a superpower, but the world now has two new powers that have completely different ideologies. These different ideologies were growing to create a new kind of war between them. A new kind of war that fought in atomic scale, the Cold War. The House UN American Activities Committee was established in 1938 temporarily first and played a crucial role in investigating communist and fascist activities in the United States. In January 1945, it was decided to be a permanent committee that had a mission of identifying propaganda activities. Moreover, the committee aimed to support Congress for legal regulations against the activities that are trying to sabotage and constitutional structure of the government. There are different activities maintained by the committee to achieve these aims. HUAC was active, especially during the Cold War, focused on labor unions. Hollywood was one of the main areas that they were investigating, and the investigation was aimed at presenting communist sympathizers, since it was believed that TV shows, series and commercials could be the places subtly propagates communism. During this period, the Hollywood blacklist was a practice that held it. By using the Hollywood blacklist, they prevent getting jobs for the ones who are the sympathizers, defenders of communism or communists. There was a famous Hollywood 10 who were writers and directors in the industry, and they refused to give information about their political networks and standing. After refusing the testification about their political standing, they were taken to the prison on the charge of undermining Congress. Therefore, their careers were damaged severely, and also they couldn't get a job in the industry. HUAC's investigations relied on accusations that were not empirically proven, but they were aimed to create a climate of fear in general. Even though the aim was an investigation, the committee was criticized because of the approach of how they do it. The fearful atmosphere, shaming and aggressive methods are seen undermining the liberties of citizens. In the 1950s, the committee lost its effect because of the approach to investigation and the relationship between Mccarthyism. In the 1970s, it was not powerful as it was ended 1975 and it was abolished.
The second Red Scare elevated with the rise of Joseph Raymond McCarthy and drove the massive public attention. Before McCarthy, this scare was already big, so how did it trigger a climate of fear and suspicion to such a level and dominate the agenda? Raymond McCarthy was born in 1908 in Wisconsin, served as a Wisconsin circuit judge, and was then selected to Senate in 1946. There is nothing more. He was an obscure politician until 1950. However, one day he became one of the most influential figures in American political history. On February 9, 1950, at Ohio County Republican Women's Club in Wheeling, McCarthy gave the speech for the Lincoln Day celebration, starting with, "Tonight as we celebrate the 141st birthday of the great man in American history," continuing with, "In my opinion, the State Department, which is one of the most important government departments, is truly infested with communists. I have in my hand 205 cases of individuals who would appear to be either card-carrying members or certainly loyal to the Communist Party, but who nevertheless are still helping to shape our foreign policy." The claims directly triggered people's fear and mistrust rather than questioning the accuracy of his accusations. The timing was provocative. Soviet Union's atomic bomb test, the fall of China, and the Korean War make his claims appear urgent and credible. McCarthy exploited the fear to boost his political standing, target opponents, and expand anti-communist actions. By exploiting these anxieties, he intensified the Red Scare, turning it into a national crisis. Receiving public attention, McCarthy continued his policy with the exploitation of the media, starting with the making his way to headlines. After Wheeling's speech, the press played a decisive role in shaping the public's perceptions of McCarthy and his accusations. There was a critical opportunity for journalists to challenge their claims through critical reporting, analysis, and headlines. If the press would have chosen to dismiss his allegations or expose their lack of credibility with criticism, it might have altered the trajectory of public opinion. However, the press failed to meet this challenge, missing a vital moment to hold McCarthy accountable and rather helped his publicity. On February 9, 1950, he claimed he had 205 lists of names in his hands. However, in his report to President Truman on February 10, 1950, he reduced the number to 57. Despite these contradictions, the newspaper continued the story according to his first claims. By exploiting widespread anxieties about communism, McCarthy gained unprecedented influence aided by media sensationalism and a lack of critical approaches. His tactics not only intensified the Red Scare, but also left a lasting legacy on American politics, serving as a reminder of the dangers of demagoguery and unchecked power.
The decline of McCarthyism started in 1950. The turning point of the hearings emerged during the broadcasted Army McCarthy hearings in 1954. The viewers witnessed McCarthy's aggressive attitude and lack of evidence during the broadcast. McCarthy accused the United States Army by indicating that they were harboring communists. Attorney Joseph, "Have you no sense of decency, sir?" resonated with the public during that time. After the incident, the United States Senate censored McCarthy formally in December 1954. His political career came to an end, and he died in 1957. Even after his death, his ideals left a significant impact on society, which caused a division between people. The McCarthy trials had influenced the political, cultural, and social consequences in the United States. Pioneered by Joseph McCarthy, the trials targeted the people who were involved with communism allegations. The outcomes of these trials weren't just affecting the suspected people, they also reached the point that the whole society was concerned. The most visible impact of McCarthy hearings was how damaging and influential the trials were to the people's careers, and lifestyles. And outrageous numbers of people were accused and investigated during the era. The investigations included academics, government employees, and the Hollywood professionals, which showed how broad the scale of these searches was. These accusations towards people came to the point that people had to give up on their careers and lost their jobs. After his death, a lot of industries regained employment, but people never fully recovered from their reputations. Another aspect of the trial's influence was that they demonstrated the problems in the legal system, since many people were not having fair hearings while dealing with public shame and accusations. This situation indicated the power abuse and unjustified methods of McCarthy hearings. The trials also affected the atmosphere in a harmful way, since the fear was very distinct in society. Individuals were paranoid about their actions because of the groundless accusations towards many. Self-censorship became apparent as people started to avoid expressing their opinions to stay out of possible suspicions. This situation influenced industries like literature and cinema along with the society itself. Additionally, the trials increased social polarization, which led to the strong ideological polarization between people. In summary, the McCarthy trials caused critical social problems that led to discrimination, recognized regulation problems in the legal system, self-censorship, and division between people. Even after his death, his ideology impacted the society.